What's up, everyone? Welcome to A Love Like That podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Jacqueline.
And we are here once again. Here at the table. This time we brought some special people with us today.
Very special people.
I'm thankful. I'm glad that we got a chance to connect. And like I said, I just love the energy from these two individuals here. And we are so thankful to have Mr. Frankie, Miss Tiffany, the Glenn family. What's going on, everyone?
What's up? How you
doing?
How you guys doing? Everything good?
We good. We're good.
How was everybody's week?
And look, our week was
a
week.
Right. It's the end of the week. We're happy, right? We're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another day.
It's been good. It's been good. What I guess before I even get into anything else, okay, I gotta get into all the shameless plugs. Okay, so today's show is sponsored by our book, The Marriage Bubble. Go buy it. Yeah. Anyway, okay, okay. She goes and grabs the book. Okay, so yeah, how convenient. How convenient. But okay, so now we got that out the way here. I just want to go ahead and just get started with you two. So, I said, we had a chance to actually talk for about a month ago and just have some good conversation, and I really liked what I saw between you two, just how you guys interacted and just the energy, and just really I could just tell by your spirit that you guys are just genuine people. And that's what I appreciate in couples. So tell me a little bit about yourselves, as individuals, and and how we got to this point of this union.
Okay.
So deep.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Take us back.
Oh, okay. Well, individually, I was born here in Atlanta, Crawford Long Hospital, but raised in New York, Queens, New York, and Hollis, Queens, in particular. This where Tiffany and I grew up, pretty much in the same neighborhood. She grew up right across the street from the elementary school that I attended. We attended the same elementary school. We actually have a picture of us in third grade together.
Oh wow!
And I was always short. so I was always the one that sat crisscross applesauce, not Indian style anymore, people. Crisscross applesauce, on the bottom row, and I believe she was like right behind me and stuff like that. We didn't know that we were gonna be destined for marriage, say today, but wow. We reconnected around 18 years old. She was attending Van Buren.
Okay.
On Hillside High School. Yeah. And she was working at a movie theater in a neighborhood, Douglaston. It's northern side of Queens. Okay. Almost moving out towards Long Island, but anyway, Little Neck, Douglaston area. And I noticed her and I said, hey, Tiffany, right? And and Frankie, and we worked together at the movie theater for a minute, and we'll tell you later. That kind of, I was thinking the other day that I think that's a connection that we have, unspoken connection, movies.
Okay.
But anyway, so just fast forward, we kind of broke up, made up, and stuff like that. We did that for a few years, and then she left the city to go start a new life on one of our breakups while we were Okay. And that was the longest breakup.
Wow.
Done.
Yeah. I end up needing a new life myself, just moving down to the Atlanta area, and then reconnecting. I had family down here. My dad's side of family he still lives down here and stuff like that. So came down here on business that had its moments, but and just reconnecting with Tiffany and kind of like helping bounce back and stuff like that. And we said we're not gonna too old to do the boyfriend girlfriend thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And guess if we're gonna get back together this time, it's got to be for real. And it was. We got engaged 2014 and got married 2015 and been happily married ever since.
Okay.
Wow.
Still keep going.
Did y'all hear that part? Happily married ever since.
Amen to that. Okay.
That's big. That's big.
I like that.
Version.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. What's the Tiffany version?
Okay, tell us about it.
Well, no.
I was making sure I didn't give you the Martin version of it.
Right.
I came out swept over the feet with the saxophone and like that.
Right. That's a great episode, by the way.
That
no
is.
floating
That
on
is.
air.
None of that.
No, it was what he stated was very true. Like that was basically the gist of how we got back together, and I think the biggest part that I think about all the time about our relationship and how we got back together is because yes, he did coincidentally end up coming back down here, but the reality is it really was like orchestrated, by God, because we were not, like your ex, you'd be like, oh, we still kind of keep in touch. We still kind of, like, there was no kind of keeping in touch. There was no, like, oh, hey. It was maybe the proverbial, like, oh, I know today's his birthday. I'm going to send him a little happy birthday text. Yeah. But it was real generic. Like, no side conversation.
Like, hey, bro.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it was like,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday. Let me just send this.
Right, exactly.
Birthday, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like, and we're done. Right. No side conversations. And then when he did move down, even then, I was like, okay, he had a little tool for a little while because I kind of was giving him the cold shoulder because I was like just afraid that I always loved him. Yeah. Always loved him. But I knew that I knew I was his comfort spot. You know what I mean? I was like, this is comfortable for him, right? And what I didn't want is for him to come back, and I knew it had taken me so long when I moved down to Georgia to kind of get over him. Like, it was a couple years before I started like dating down here and really felt comfortable dating. And I was like, what you're not gonna do is come back down here and mess me up again. You know what I'm saying? I'm just now starting to date. Right. It's spicy. I'm meeting people. I'm out here. I'm doing my thing.
You ain't gonna mess up what I got going on right here.
I'm shaking the shoulders.
And so I'm feeling spicy, And so he got down here, and for a while I was kind of giving him like the, and the cold shoulder, and I was like, let's not do that, and then eventually he wore me down, and I was like, okay, we can go to the movies, and so we started slowly, back to the movies, where it all started, and we slowly started kind of dating again and kind of going to the movies, and then I think the real, his family has always played a huge part in our relationship, just because they loved me despite being Frankie's girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, I had like strong connections with his mom and his grandmother, his female cousins, which are like his sisters. And so we had those connections. And so once we had broken up and he moved down, it was kind of like he asked me. I think the straw that brought the camel's back was when he asked me to go to his family reunion with him, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna be able to make it. And he was looking at me like, what are you talking about? Like, why? And we have been dating, like going on dates, still kind of just socially seeing each other. And I was like, no, I'm not going to even make it. And he was like, why not? And I was like, because I'm not about to go and pretend. I love them too much to go to this family reunion and pretend. Like, me and you at a place where we haven't confirmed that we are. And let's not do that. Because I don't want them asking me questions. They know they're going to big us up and be like, we're so happy all together. But I'm sitting there like, we're really not together. I don't know what we're doing. But I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I'm present.
I'm present, guys. I'm like, let's not do that. And so his mother called me and was like, oh, Frankie told me you're not going to go to family reunion. And I was like, I think I'm going to pass like that. She was like, I really wish you would come. You really should come. And I was just like, why is she pushing me to go? And I was like, maybe I'll just go. You know what I mean? And so
he threw out the Hail Mary. He got moms involved.
And so when she called, I was like, okay, fine. So he asked me again about going, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I was like, but we need to have a conversation about me going because I want my own hotel room. I want this. I want that.
Right, exactly. Here's my list of demands.
Because I want this to be like on the record that we are mutually just dating each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Little did I know, I was going to be a fiance on my way back. Because at said family reunion, Frankie proposed to me.
And
I did not know that obviously I didn't know that was happening. You know what I mean? It was on what's it, Spirit of Norfolk?
No, Spirit of Norfolk.
Spirit of Norfolk. Little dinner cruise. The family reunion was on, and he proposed to me and I was totally shocked. I was like,
you had to come.
That's why he was pushing for you to come, right?
Why is he pushing for me to come on this family reunion, knowing that we know where we are? And so, fast forward, looking back at that time, it was like, he had a whole plan. You know what I mean? And I think that as women is what we want. We just want you to have a plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, the plan, him having a plan is the reason why we're sitting here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that part just always sticks with me. You know what I mean? Like, he had a plan before I even knew about the plan. You know what I mean? And so that part just kind of solidifies where we are. You know what I'm saying? And I think why we are still where we are. You know what I mean? Because it started with a plan. It started like I think it started in the 3rd grade. Little did we know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But fast forward, you know, the matrimony aspect of it started with a plan. You know? And so that's where we are now. Here we are. Fast forward 8 years later.
Yeah.
We just celebrated 8 years in September.
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
And, thank you. And
Happy
we have our little
belated
baby.
anniversary.
Thank you. And we have our baby.
Amen.
And we're good. You know? Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. So I'm going to backtrack here. So obviously the name of the podcast is called A Love Like That.
Yes.
Okay. So A Love Like Frankie and Tiffany is what?
Ooh,
I hit you with that one, right?
I came from the pinky toe. Didn't I come down from the pinky toe? I'm going to have to pull this one up.
A Love Like Frankie and Tiffany's moments, you know, like it's the road to Wally Road that you know what I'm saying, that you guys mentioned on our show. You know, that is without a shadow of a doubt. I never thought I would get so much from a National Lampoon reference,
Exactly.
right? But yeah, in marriage counseling, that was probably one of the best metaphors that you can use for the road travel being so rocky at times, smooth and sunny at times, and then torrential rain and others and stuff like that. So I mean, that's part of the reason why I love that title is, you know, A Love Like That, because you know, I don't know if I could believe a person that says a marriage is like 1,000% peaches and herbs and cream and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, you know.
Right.
So yeah. So I love like Frankie, love like Frankie and Tiffany. The moments, and those moments consist of whatever.
That's right.
Whatever.
I would say a love like ours is effortless. Because we don't. I mean, honestly, and this I don't want this to sound bad, but we were friends first.
That's major.
You know what I mean?
That's important.
And so, like,
you gotta be friends first.
We gotta be friends.
Right.
We were friends first. So just even what he just said, right? He says things I laugh at, right? Because I know where they come from.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a friend thing.
That's a connection.
That's a connection thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people lack these days. It's like the connection, right? No, you don't have to know each other since the 3rd grade like we did. But, you know, for me, it's effortless because that's the one thing we don't have to try hard to do. Like, you know, some people have to try hard to love each other. We just love each other. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that sounds cliche, but it's like it could be the simplest thing. Like, we enjoy watching TV together. You know, we have a lot of the same humor. So some stuff he watches, I'm like, okay, I can't watch that too long. But there are some things that we watch together. You know, we have similar humor, so we love Martin. You know what I mean? So like, we can get that on, and that's just something. And one thing that he initiated, his family, they are extremely tight. And the one thing that we always initiated is, like, when I first met him, he was like, oh, so once it was confirmed we were boyfriend and girlfriend, he was like, okay, so now that you're my girlfriend, we eat dinner on Sundays at my grandma's house. And I was just like, okay.
All right, like, you got a schedule.
And so I was just like,
here.
Is this what he was like? Yeah, no, we like, and I was thinking like, oh, one night we're gonna eat a little dinner. You know, it's not gonna be a big deal. He was like, no, it's
that's
Sunday.
Like clockwork.
We eat dinner at my grandmother's house. Like, that's like a standing schedule. Like, we're not going out to eat on Sunday night. We go to my grandmother's house on Sunday night and we eat. And he lived there with his grandmother. Him and his mom lived there with his grandmother. So he was like, you know, you eat at my house every Sunday night. And I was just like, okay. But that built, I didn't know then, but when we were dating, that built the foundation for a lot of things that we do in our household. and how we move in our household. And it also created the time for us to like really just chill and be friends. Because we would chill at his house on Sunday nights, we would eat dinner, and even if we had things we wanted to do, like go bowling with our friends or go out to the movies or go do something, it was like those things happened after dinner.
Right.
You know,
because you had the structure was right
it was
there.
That structure of like we come together on Sundays with family, we eat dinner, and then we go out and go, you know, to a bar. Or we might go to, you know, go bowling or go play pool or, you know, whatever. But that foundation of first, like, we come together and socialize and relax together as family, that was initiated early on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that was a huge part of where we are today. You know what I mean? That's why I say our relationship and our love is effortless, because that friendship was there from the beginning. Yeah. You know, that we just chill together. It wasn't even like, oh, you know, we just together by ourselves. It was like family members would be there, and we would just like, this is just what we do. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like when other people came into my life that didn't have that same quality, I was like, so you're not gonna do nothing on Sunday?
Right.
There's nothing happening.
So it's Sunday, and we don't have anywhere to go.
Eat anywhere. We're not gonna
what
is your family doing?
He made it difficult for anybody else to come behind him,
and vice versa. And vice versa. I mean, it's because we had mentioned before. You know, we had mentioned before. You know, when I said to you guys before that communication should be I'm gonna coin that. I'll tell you. So communication definitely should be a sixth love language, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because there are attributes, there are qualities of communication in words of affirmation, sort of. But again, words of affirmation is really just saying things, nice things to each other to assure that, you know, the love is still there. Acts of service is sort of close. That's like nonverbal communication almost. You know, but outright communication in words, like I'm talking about the finishing each other's sentences, to finishing each other's thoughts, and being in tune with each other. It may seem minuscule, right? But I could almost have written Martin in my vows, because and it's not so much about Martin, but it's because that show has a direct connection to my funny bone, and anybody that gets that, that's why Jay, I mean, it's organic. Whenever we're doing the show, Jay, Ashley, Tiff, we can one reference and we'll all forget about it, like drop dead,
right?
And it, we can come off a argument, we can come off a, you understand what I'm saying? But one line, brings it all back, And honestly, that's just being that oneness, that being in tune, you know what I'm saying, like that. And that portion of the communication is not covered within the other five, which is why I say that needs to be the sixth man. Gotta be. Because we literally like she and I, we spoken about it before, and like she just alluded to, all those trials in between our breakup periods. You really it's the literally the greener grass. You know what I'm saying? You like, you say something like good morning to you, and then she's like, huh?
Right, and doesn't comprehend why that's right. That she doesn't know what GTD stands for.
Right. And then they're like, are you serious? Like, Martin is really that big of a deal breaker? It's not about Martin. It's just
the connection.
You're not right. You're not her. You're not. It's not about Martin. You're not her.
Okay, so all right. Do you have any questions? Because I have questions. I have questions. Okay. I have like a million questions. So so there's obviously synergy. There's energy. There's connection. We get that. So when did you know this was it? What was the moment? Because I feel every man knows that moment. Like, I know the moment where I saw her and it was just like, yep, I'm done. This is it. What was it for you?
It was a combination of all those things that I just spoke about the trials, and cause I've always been like a relationship guy. I never been like and just get into other relationships and having a hard time even calling them my girlfriends and stuff like that, and and family is important. So by her, them not being her, and in conjunction with like the family just wasn't accepting it.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't complete BITCHs. You know what I'm saying? Like so my cousins are my sisters. So they weren't, you know, with the nice nasty and stuff like that. They were mannerly.
Yeah. But they just
but they still you know they're like okay, hey girl, how you doing? Oh, that look nice on you, this and that. Then like, you know, say, all right, Frankie, we'll see you later. You know, and it would just be like one of those like, yeah, she can go.
Right,
yeah, she can go. Yeah, deuces after this. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And you know, to some people, that's like, listen, bump my family things. I'm a do me and yada 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 yada. But you know, my cousin Lin Quay, the main one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's right. That's she was the main advocate.
Right.
For this one here, you know, that's my daughter. My daughter's name is Lin Quay. That's
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you know, she played a huge part in it. She never outright said you need to get your is together, but it was like, tell me you need to get your is together without telling me you need to get your. And it was just like, yeah.
She let you know what time it was.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, we've done this a little. It's run its course. I've met enough. Okay, it's time to go back to the roots, fam.
Right.
And it was just like and again, communication. She never legit said that to me.
Yeah.
But I said it all, and I knew what it was.
What she was, right.
And I said, you know what? She right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was very little that needed to be said. Less is more.
So what was it for you?
You know, some women are wired a little different, right? Like, I thought Frankie was supposed to be my husband when we were dating in our teens into the early 20s, right?
Yeah.
But when I look back on that time, if he would have proposed to me, I would have absolutely said yes. We would have absolutely got married. I cannot say that we would still be together today. So I think that although it tore me apart when we broke up and I moved down to Georgia, I think it was necessary. You know what I mean? It was necessary for us to have that separation. I think a large part of why I never thought we would ever be together again is because he was in New York and I was in Georgia, right? So I'm like, this never is going to work out. So I'm going to have to just get him out of my mind. I'm going to have to move on, and so on and so forth. But similar to him, I was trying to make everybody Frankie. So when I was dating guys here, it was like, oh, he's cool, but he's not Frankie.
Yeah.
Dang. You know, and then, you know, naturally family association as well. My mom, you know, she would be, you know, come down here to visit when she still living in New York, and she would like meet people, and she would be like, oh, he's such a nice young man. He's very nice. And she's like, have you spoken to Frankie? You know,
However,
like, woman, like he
forget all that.
Forget Frankie.
Right.
This is
Stop bringing him up.
Stop bringing him up. You know what I'm saying? And she would take me back to a place, and I'd be like, you know what I mean? But eventually I was like, okay, what is it that she's trying to say? You know what I mean? And so I think for me, when I knew, I've always known Frankie. So I said that in my vows to Frankie. I said, in my vows, I'm credited as saying, it's always been you. And I'm like, that is so genuine to my heart because it has always been him. When I've dated other guys, I mean, guys who are taller, guys who are the same height, guys who are athletic, I mean, like, mother did live when she was down here. So, you know, I was spicy. My shoulders were shaking, you know. But although I had a dating life, I compared everybody to Frankie, which was so unfair to them. But I couldn't shake him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would say, to answer your question, it's always been Frankie for me. Always.
I totally understand what you're saying in terms of, we met when I was 13 and he was 15. But since he was kind of my first real boyfriend, even though we went through
the only one that mattered.
Right, the only one that mattered.
Right, you know, in elementary school where it's like we're boyfriend, girlfriend, but like we only talk at school.
Right,
we only
right.
This was real. We
right,
went out.
Exactly. So just even in that, as since I was young, you know, not necessarily knowing exactly what it is that you want, but when it really mattered and when you're really kind of honing in on what it is, it was a comparison because it's like, wait a minute, I've had better.
Yeah.
Like you
right.
couldn't, I couldn't shake that, you know, so I 100% get that. That's, you
but
know.
to say, I, you know, thank you for telling me that. That
course,
boosted my confidence. But first and foremost, the shaking the shoulders is taking me out. That's hilarious.
I love it.
But also, I felt you when you said I would have said yes early on. I don't know if we would have been together because that's how I feel. Because I knew, like 21, 22, I was like, I gotta figure out how to make this work. And if I would have had it my way, I would have been married to this woman like at 22, 23, whatever the case is. But I don't think we would have stayed married because I hadn't matured and I hadn't developed all of the life skills and all the things I need to know about myself to become the man I need to be for her. So I think, you know, as much as we want things to happen right then and there, God has another way of saying, pump the brakes a little bit.
I'm so grateful he brought us back together, even though in that space I had no idea how that was going to happen. He was in New York, I was down here, and I was like, me moving to Georgia, it's never going to happen. Totally forgot the fact that he had a whole branch of family down in Georgia.
Right.
And this could potentially happen. And then when it happened, I was like so shocked. I was like, you moving to Georgia where? And he was like, Georgia. Like, called me like the night before. He was on his way to the airport. Like, hey, I just, like, literally no contact.
Oh, wow.
Then we used to talk to people on, what was it, on Facebook?
To move to Stockbridge.
Was it Facebook we were talking on? And it called me on Facebook. Like, I was like, who's randomly calling me? And I was like, hello? Hey, this is Frankie. I just want to let you know I'm moving to Georgia. And I was like, what? First of all, hello.
Right. How you been?
How you mama doing? You know, and what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, well, good luck to you. I wish you the best down there in Georgia. You know, okay. You know, and then from there, you know, the rest was just like history. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just I agree with you. You know, if we would have gotten married then, there was so much maturity, right? That happened with dating other people. With, you know, Frankie was, you know, my second boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like he we worked at the movie theater together, and I always laugh about how we started dating at the movie theater because I came to work one day really ticked off with my first boyfriend, and I was like, oh, I'm so upset, and that one night I said, Lord, if you did anything, you put Frankie on my shift that night. I came to work. It was like a random Tuesday night, and on early weekday nights, nobody's working at the movie theater, right? So you got one person cleaning and one person in the booth taking tickets.
Right.
I'm in the booth. Frankie's cleaning. I used to be in there studying, looking at my books down here.
St. John's University.
I'm looking up at people to studying down here, and he's like there. Occasionally, I would have to come out and do little stuff at the concession stand. And I'm telling him, he's, what's the matter? You all right? You seem like, I was like, oh, you know, I had a little thing with my boyfriend. If I was your boyfriend, I would never do that to you. And I was like, oh, Frank.
Right.
You know, and
get back in that spot.
He planted that seed real quick.
And I was like, oh, you would be a great boyfriend. Let's go on a date. You know, and then like after that, that's just kind of like how it happens a little further down the line. But it was just like, you know, what was supposed to happen happened.
Right.
And even though I didn't feel like that was the way I felt, that I didn't feel that way at the time. I think that, like I said, if we would have we needed the time apart. We needed the time apart to have new experiences and appreciate each other.
Definitely, you know what I mean? Appreciation for each other.
Because we would have rushed into being married at a time when I thought we would have been great to be married. Mm-hmm. We likely would not be. It would have been hard. Mm-hmm. It would have been so hard. It would have been, It would have been. I don't think we'd be here.
We did something pretty cool. For our wedding, we did a trailer.
Okay.
And it was basically like Bonnie and Clyde. We modeled it after. Yeah. So we did a. It was ironically around the same time as I think Jay-Z, Beyonce's on the Run tour. I think it might have been. But in any event, so we did the Bonnie and Clyde theme where basically we just kind of ran the city, and then it was like our promo to our wedding.
Yes,
So within the promo, I get reminded of it every year because it's around the time that we got married. So it comes up on my Facebook memories. Did a monologue of readiness.
Okay.
We titled it Ready. And it was basically just a metaphor of the overwhelming feeling that you feel when you told somebody that you're on their way to come get them, and when you show up, the first thought is like, you got a schedule to keep and stuff like that. I hope this person is ready. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, when you dated her, and you're like, I hope she don't keep me waiting a long time. Right. And not only was she ready, but she was like curbside, damn near. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, it gives you a different feeling. Yeah. And the metaphor that I used was just, bumps in the road and having to backtrack and start all over, and and all roads just eventually led me back to Tiffany, and she was ready. So she was waiting on the curve for me, ready. I'm trying to remember verbatim, but that's basically the gist of it. And so that was pretty cool. So it's funny when you asked, how do I know that, when I was ready? It's just like when God led me back to her, it was just like, okay, well, here we go.
There it is.
Here we are.
That's incredible.
And I wondered why other people didn't work out, because I did have some solid prospects. Yeah. But however, something just kept slipping through the cracks, and it was just like, okay, what's happening here? You know what I mean? And literally, like he said with the ready thing, like it's like when you are obedient and follow, and just let God lead you, guide your steps. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of just like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna let you have this, because I'm up here taking applications. They get declined. This ain't working out. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait and see what you got going on. And, he comes back into the picture, and it was like, you always have that fear of like, oh man, if a person come back to the picture, now I'm in a committed relationship.
Right. What happens then?
What happens then? Do I just hurt this person's feelings and, to be with Frankie, and like, how does that work? But we didn't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It
lined up exactly the way it was supposed to line up. And for that, I'm like eternally grateful to God for that.
So I mean, it sounds like everything just flowed, like you said earlier. It's effortless.
Yeah.
So now I have to ask the question. So what were like the first couple of years like? Where because some people have honeymoon periods and some people have adjustment periods. What were there any adjustments? What was the transition? Was there anything that you guys had to kind of, I guess, get used to about each other, being married, living together? What was the transition period like, where you guys were able to, adapt to each other?
It wasn't too rough. It wasn't too rough. Because we lived with each other in Rosedale for a stint, and then we lived with each other a little bit when we reconvened back there, down here and stuff like that. So
so we shacked a little bit. We had a little shack situation going on, initially, and so all of the little things that some people like, oh, we only lived together right after we got married for the first time ever. Those things we didn't really have to deal with. I would say, if you are talking about like overcoming things and kind of things we dealt with in the first couple of years, it was I think one of the biggest things was we got pregnant right away after we got married, and we lost our baby, and so that it was that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the first couple of years were like, it was heavy stuff that was like, we got this, because if we can make it through this is something that something take some couples out of here. You know what I mean? And so that was a challenge for us. You know what I mean? And not that we loved each other any less, you know what I'm saying, but I emotionally was dealing with, why my body, why me? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? And I was kind of going through my own personal female stuff, you know what I'm saying, about why my body couldn't hold on to our child, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His child, his son, you know what I'm saying? And so that was like it was hard, you know what I mean? And so us transitioning through that time, I think clearly made us stronger. But it was those kind of things, you know what I mean, that we struggled with in the beginning, and it was early on, we got pregnant, 2016? We got married in 2015, you know what I mean? So it was like, everything was like, oh, this is happening like just the way it's supposed to happen, you know what I'm saying? And then we get hit with that situation, like no issues up until, I was 5 months pregnant. I was far along when we lost our baby. You know what I mean? So most people are preparing for baby shower and beyond at that time. You know what I mean? And we're dealing with out of nowhere this loss, and we were like totally unprepared. You know, for this. Not that you ever prepared, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If you have a complication early on, you're like, oh, this could happen. Healthy pregnancy up until that point. You know what I mean? And so I think those are the kind of hurdles, right, that we dealt with early on. And then, like, you know, we ended up going to grief counseling, right? Best decision we could have ever made, right? Because we go to grief counseling, which then turned into relationship counseling or marriage counseling, right?
Yeah.
The therapist, we still see her to this day when we need to see her. But she was so impactful in helping, guiding us through that whole experience, even up until getting pregnant with our daughter, Linquay. You know, because I was like detached initially because I'm like, what if it happens again? And you know what I mean? So it was just a lot of that was happening early on in the early parts of our marriage. You know what I mean? And then he, you know, went to support me and didn't realize how much he was going to get out of the therapy. You know what I mean? And so it was just that stuff, you know, that was like heavy on us early on. You know? And so, you know, unfortunate, right? But definitely made us stronger, as a couple. Like, if we can make it through this, we got the rest of this stuff. Like, the rest of this stuff is like,
water under the bridge.
It's water under the bridge. We're gonna be mad today, and we're gonna be straight tomorrow, and we're gonna keep it moving. Like, you know. So,
look, that actually kind of brings up a good point. As it relates to conflict, how do you guys deal with that? You know, I know you said, hey, you know, we may be mad for a minute and then we're going to get past it because, you know, that goes back into communication. I mean, communication and how you communicate is very important as it relates to conflict and, you know, fighting fair. So how is it that you guys approach conflict?
That's tough because that's still a work in progress. Okay, you know what I'm saying. That's still because the 4 components that you guys have in your book.
That was
finance.
Finance. You got romance.
Service,
right? And then you have the Laura. I'm forgetting the communication. Exactly. I'm having a brain freeze. Thank you, babe. That's why. That's she's the genius of the. She's the genius of the.
That's why she's there. So, but just conflict resolution. Yeah. You had said one thing on the show. What was it that finances are kind of like a major.
Oh, definitely a major.
Of you know, because the more you have a handle on, you know, some of those issues, it's like a domino effect, so to speak.
Right, they all relate. They all affect the
they all connect. You know, so sometimes those woes, that's just my shortcomings as a man. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. That might, you know, just lead to band-aids. You know, so to speak. Yeah. But the issue's still there on the table or whatever. We just kind of, the one thing that I can say, you know, pat ourselves on the back for, we don't allow things to fester. So major. It might not have resolved the conflict, so to speak, but you know, we ain't going to bed angry.
Yeah,
that's one thing we learned in premarital class. That's why I'm a huge advocate for premarital class.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. Premarital class. I don't care if you don't have a strong connection with God. If you think I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Figure it out.
That's
and
right.
Go and sit with somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
right.
Even if you don't do
get
nothing,
the tools,
but find you a couple that you at the very least respect and appreciate, that both of you can connect with, and sit with them once a week, once a month, every 2 weeks, whatever your schedule allow. Because premarital class taught us some tools that we still use to this day.
Yes,
8 years later,
us too.
You know, Frankie just made reference to Wildly World.
Yes,
we talk about all the time not going to bed angry. You know what I'm saying? If nothing else, this house still gonna move like it's supposed to. Yeah. We still gonna get these bills paid. Yeah. We still gonna do everything we have to do. And if we gotta circle back around and talk about the issue, I have learned post therapy, you know what I'm saying, to not keep things so internal, you know what I mean, and be a little bit more vocal about things instead of just being like, let me just fix it. I'm just gonna take care of it. You know what I mean? I'll bring things to him, now, and I'll say, hey, listen, the other day when you said blah blah blah, you made me feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now I still love you, but I'm gonna need you to figure that out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, that made me feel this way. You know what I mean? I didn't like it. You know, and he might, even in the moment, he might be like, oh, come on, Tiff, you gotta be kidding me. You serious? You know, but then later on, you know, I'll see him soften, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because he recognizes that hurt my feelings.
Right.
Or, you know, he'll be like, well, that wasn't my intention. And I'm like, but I'm letting you know how it made me feel. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's just about having those tough conversations.
Tough conversations.
They're not exactly what you want to talk about.
Right.
And I had to learn from therapy. I learned that there's never a right time.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm the kind of person like, oh, we were laughing, talking about Martin, and we was doing this, and I didn't want to mention it at that point.
Right.
You know
I didn't want to mess up the vibe.
I didn't want to mess up the vibe. We were having so much fun. You know what I'm saying? But there are moments when, you know, the high comes down, and I'm like, so I want to talk to you about something.
Right.
And I can just see on his face, he looking like, like what happened?
Yo, my man, I get you because it's like
every guy.
That's what's got you tipped off right now.
Listen,
like what
we
now?
gotta get it off our chest.
Exactly. It's like what happened?
Right.
Okay, this
and for me, I you know, I don't want to take for granted that my daughter doesn't understand energy. So I just wanna make sure that you know, like we don't have that negative aura. You know what I'm saying, lingering around the house, you know, because she's a lovey kid, clingy. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a part of her makeup, and the moment I'm too upset to do that, you know what I'm saying, I feel like, you know, she'll feel it, you know, whether we know it or not.
But you're right though, because I always said that all the time though, because we got into it one time when and our son, he was like super tiny, and I was like, okay, yo, babe, I'm gonna be honest with you. We're not about to do this right now. I'm just not, because I feel like children have a different type of energy. They have a different connection. They sense things totally different,
almost like telekinetic. You know?
Yeah, they are, because they have a closer connection to God than what we have, because we're so far removed, and they understand, they feel things that are so different.
Absolutely.
And I understand that part right there. So we always were like, you know, we'll have discussions, we'll have conversations, but what we're not going to do here is sit here and argue.
Right.
We're not about to do that, especially not in front of these kids, because that's not for them to see. They need to see that we are working together.
Absolutely.
And you know it to be true, because when you hear about people talk about their childhoods, you know what I mean? And
Come on.
I remember my parents arguing. I remember, and the parents like, they didn't know they was in the room, and it's like,
they do know. They absolutely
children
know
are more
what's
smarter
going on.
than what we
Them
give them.
children know, you know what I'm saying? Kids know, they remember very young. You hear about people talking about very young, talking about being. I remember being in the room and hearing my parents fight. I remember seeing
those are traumatic experiences.
Exactly.
Like, you may not even be able to tell somebody what you ate for lunch 2 days ago.
Right, but you remember.
You know, one thing you can remember. I just got this vision of this. You know, my dad just one day just barking on my mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, that type of stuff sticks with you.
Right.
Like,
and it
that happened when
shows
you were
up.
3.
Yeah.
It shows up.
You're like, I was 3 years old. People say kids don't remember stuff, or they don't know.
Yeah.
You think.
And you start to see
those little movie clips and flashes of back. What is that image from? Yep, that's from your childhood. Yeah.
And also, you mentioned premarital class. You know, the whole not going to bed angry with each other, not withholding sex. You know, because you're mad. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff, and it providing acts of service for your partner. Because you're mad, because you're upset with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have had
respect the role,
and so I've had to kind of separate those things. You know what I'm saying? I know people who, like, in their households, they mad, ain't nobody eating. We ain't cooking nothing up in this joint. I'm gonna get me a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I'm going to the house, and good luck.
Good night and good night. Everybody's on their own.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
And it's like, how does your household move like that? Like, I could never. You know what I'm saying? I'm still coming in like, hey, I cooked dinner. You hungry? Your plate is in the microwave. Da 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 da.
Regardless of how you feel.
I'm still mad. Hello, somebody.
Look,
right.
I'm gonna do it, but I ain't gonna like it.
I'm telling you, right.
Hello,
but it's there.
But it's there.
But it's
you
there.
Know what I'm saying? You won't tell Jesus I didn't feed you.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so it's still, you know what I'm saying? The household's still gonna go forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like you mentioned the kids and stuff like that. we are intentional. If it's about nothing else, we are intentional about Linquay C. Glenn.
Yes.
And her seeing a loving household.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that is intentional. We don't if we're not intentional about nothing else that go on in that household. It's about her and her experience in the household with us. Yeah. Now, is it practical to say she's never going to see us upset with each other or angry? Probably not, right? Because at some point she will, right?
Yeah.
But one thing she will know is that whatever we decide is going forth in love.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? She's not going to see this unhealthy experience of her parents. You know what I'm saying? Because we want her to then grow up and have a healthy experience in a loving relationship with a man at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so everything we do, we try to make sure that it's intentional, specifically for her, but obviously, of course, for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did having your daughter, how did it change you guys as far as your marriage?
Oh gosh. Jesus Christ.
We'll set you free.
Right. He will set you free. Go ahead and be free, Frank.
Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, we call it
I'm a punk. He's a punk. Because I'm a punk.
I'm a punk. Say with me, because I'm a punk.
I'm a punk.
It's a good movie.
Let's see. That she is like our strongest bond. You know.
Yeah.
And it might have a lot to do with, you know, us losing the first child, you know what I'm saying? But man,
she's the glue that stuck us together.
She is, yeah.
She is. Because when you were talking about early on and things going on in your relationship and how we were at a rocky point at that point. We had so much coming down on us at that time, you know what I mean? And then I found out I was pregnant. And we were like, oh, wait a minute, it's about to get real.
Right.
Now it's not just about me and you. You know what I mean? And so we had the pressure of, or the anxiety of, what if this happens again, right? But then we also had the hope for a future. You know what I mean? That part, you know, that was kind of looming.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we got another chance to do this. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, I always look at her and I'm like, ooh, Lord. You kept me and your daddy together. You know what I mean? Because at those moments when you feel like we trying at this, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know how you feel, but I'm feeling a little weak at this moment. Though she was that glue. You know what I'm saying? She was the glue that just kind of kept it right where it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? So when I think about her and I'm like, when I tell you she was sent, the Lord literally dropped this baby in my uterus for us.
Yeah.
He knew. He was like, y'all need this. You know what I mean? And it took me a second to kind of reconnect, because when you lose a child, you kind of like, you feel like every moment is going to be that loss again. You know what I mean? And so when I tell you, I tippy-toed through my pregnancy. Like literally, if I sneezed too hard, I was like, I'm not coming to work. I don't know what's happening.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was just so afraid of everything. You know what I'm saying? And my body rejecting like another kid, another child. You know what I mean? And so, but just the connection. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what literally glued us together. You know what I mean? Was Linquay. You know, for sure.
The connection piece. I think that's so. With that being the case, so this is what we were talking about this last night on our live, because you were talking about the rocky moments, and I always said, you know, marriage is either working for you or it's working on you. You know, and so it sounded like marriage was working on you, guys, because I always said marriage is something that, you know, no matter how you look at it, marriage is probably the biggest mirror holder upper you can ever have, because it shows what you are and what you need to work on yourself, and if you're mature enough to actually man up or woman up to actually fix what it is, you know. And so during those moments when you guys were met with that adversity, you know, how hard or how difficult was it to really take into assessment of yourself, not about pointing at the other person, but like, you know, well, they need to do this. It's like, what about me? Like, what is this showing me? You know, how was it, you know, figuring out how to take that responsibility of or take ownership of yourself and what you're doing in your marriage.
I always tell people I die to myself daily in this marriage. Wow. Because you have to. You know what I'm saying? You have to die to yourself daily. And that sounds so like oh, you're not like, people who are not married don't understand.
Right.
But when you're married, you understand that term. You know what I'm saying? Like, I die to myself daily.
Yeah.
Every day I am sacrificing a piece of myself, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror saying, okay, Tiffany, how can you be better today for Frankie,
yes.
for Linquay,
yes.
for as a friend to your friend circle, you know what I mean? Like, I literally die to myself daily, and so I feel as though what was the question? I just lost the question. What was the question?
So how do you take on the ownership of yourself and evolving to be the person that you need to be?
Yes. So again, with the dying to myself daily, and also investment in myself.
Yeah.
You know, so like there are times where, like I mentioned, we have our therapist that we have been going to for years, right? Of course, you go to a couple people and then you find that person,
right?
And so we found that person for us, and she went from being grief counseling, right, for our loss, to being marriage counseling, to being independent counselors, right? So I was able to go see her by myself. You know what I mean? And really talk to her about things that bother me. You know what I mean? Bother me just in my career. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's not necessarily about your partner.
Right.
It's about
it's all
everything
else,
everything
stuff.
around, right?
Stuff. It's just being angry with yourself. You're not sat up here and went to this school, paid all this money. I owe these folks money. I got this degree. I ain't using it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just looking at all the other things, your shoulda, woulda, coulda list of things, right? That you know over years of disappointment, that things that you didn't live up to or you wanted to do. And so for me, therapy has been super helpful. I'm grateful that we found a person that's God-fearing and she respects us independently and as well as a couple. We both have seen her individually, and she's always there. You know what I mean? So in moments when I'm feeling like, okay, the walls are caving in, I'm about to crash. Right now, we on autopilot at this house. Everybody's eating. Everybody's breathing.
Right.
But
we're not okay.
But we ain't okay.
Right.
Because I'm not okay.
Right.
So those are the moments when I find myself like saying, okay, I need to give old girl a call. And I'll text her and be like, hey, what you doing this week?
Yeah.
Can I see you on Tuesday evening? You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes it's just about me unplugging so that I can get that jolt of energy, you know what I'm saying, and revive, and then come on back, and I'm like, all right, I'm good, I'm back,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Just a little tune up.
Just a little tune up, you know what I mean? So for me, that's what I know I need. Sometimes it's talking to my confidants, the people who make me look at myself in a way that I don't always want to look at myself. Those are my, my, and that's not all my friends. You know what I'm saying? I have specific friends for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my best friend, Nayani, you know what I'm saying? Nika is my confidant. One of my girls, Nika, she's my confidant. And they literally make me look at myself. And like, sometimes I get off the phone with them and I'm like, really? Did she have to go there?
Right.
All right. I didn't call you for that. But okay. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, disrespectful, but okay.
I mean, a little disrespectful. But
High
okay.
key.
I receive it.
Right.
But when I get off those calls, it's reflective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And later on, I can text you and be like, yeah, you was kind of stank, but I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed that. You know.
Yes.
So that's kind of how it is for me.
Yeah. And for men, I guess it's a little bit different because we kind of, as far as ownership, we see the problem. And it's like, okay. I mean, while I'm a strong advocate for therapy, because like she said, I've taken advantage of it myself as well, of going to seek therapy and stuff like that. But I identify my shortcomings and I'm like, all right, cool, schedule got to change then, babe. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to put more work hours in. You know what I'm saying? Daddy got to go make the coins. That's, if that is the issue at that point, then that's a solution. I don't really have to go see therapy for. We kind of see it, deal with it, handle it.
Action.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, self-assessment and move into action.
Yeah.
That's men. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. For me, don't have the. I can't say that. I was about to say I don't have the strongest. I don't want to say support system. As far as my guys, I got about 3 solid, who I'm able to tap in with every now and again. Thank God for Jay. Talk about him all the time because they say, what is this thing it's going viral on TikTok? I mentioned it the other day, the day twos.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, everybody's talking about day ones,
awesome.
but it's about the day two.
Day twos is definitely just as valuable because those are the ones that in your mature adult life you've met with a purpose.
Right.
You know, some people are just around just because y'all knew each other since y'all were 3 years old. You know what I'm saying? But Jay definitely embodies that. And then my dog Jamal back in New York, and my best friend Justin back up in Philly. So, you know, those are 3 that I can always, confidants I can always call on and stuff like that. Jay is like the Trinity, because Jay is happen to just be here in the body, in the flesh, you know what I'm saying? So he's here, so that's nothing but a phone call and a meet up at a cigar lounge away, you know what I'm saying? So, but, and, you know, as far as like just handling things on our own, we just know how to, what is that, tighten the belt sort of strap, or, you know, loosen the, you know, tighten up the bootstraps and stuff like that and get to work, you know? So that's just how.
But definitely, it sounds like, I mean, you definitely are listening to what the other person needs, you know, and really just, hey, I'm feeling a way about this, you know, maybe we need to make some changes, let's put it into action, hearing what it is, you know, and making a new plan moving forward.
I think that's the part that I do appreciate. One of the things I appreciate about our relationship is, even if Frankie's not always immediately on board, he will give it some thought.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes as a woman or a wife, you know, you want your partner to consider what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like, consider my perspective.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at this from, you know, Eagle's view, and I'm seeing how, you know, we can tighten up in certain areas to make this work. And so, you know, sometimes he's a good listener. He drives me crazy sometimes because he won't react immediately. Like I'm like, so what you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And he's like,
so what do you think about what I just said? You just drop the load. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Right.
And I'm like,
let me do this thing called process. Let me do this thing called process.
But I just told you the whole plan.
Right,
just
exactly.
Say yes, and we can get this going.
Right.
You know? But he has to process. You know what I mean? But so I think also it's about respecting each other's differences in that space. Right. So he respects the fact that I'm a talker. I'm a planner. It's the way I move, it's the way my brain works. I want to plan it out and be like, so we can do boom, 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 and by this date we can have this. Yeah. You know, and he's like, cool, sounds like a plan. I'm gonna go take a nap.
My God.
I'm like, what? I just gave you a whole life schematic.
Right, exactly.
Listen.
And you gave me 4 words.
And you gave me 4 words. Like, cool.
He's gonna go sleep
I'm
on
gonna
it.
take a nap. Like, what?
Right.
Like, I just gave you our life's plan, and you just told me you're gonna take a nap. Great. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking about it while we sleep.
That's
right.
That's how he processes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna meditate.
Right.
On that.
He's meditating on it. Meanwhile, I'm like drawing, you know, diagrams on the wall with, you know, with beams. I'm like, look at this area over here.
So
PowerPoints.
Right. So this one over here, I've realized early on, I have to let her get her thoughts out. I already know where it's going, and so I'm like, end point.
That's Frankie. He's like, man, so what you saying?
Right, end point, woman, end point. But I just have to allow her to talk, to get it out, because that's how she recognizes that she's being heard. Not because I'm just like, okay, I already know what it is, but it's just I've heard it fully out, and it's allowing her to say her piece. And not allowing, but you know what I mean. It's just, you know, it's giving her the liberty to say her piece. And I take what she says, you know, to heart, because you know, she's my counsel, you know, and you know, I may be, you know, the person who will say yes or no, or however you want to look at it or whatever. But at the end of the day, I value what she brings to the table, and I would be a fool not to at least listen to hear what she has to say.
Absolutely.
And respecting the times in which you do it, right? I'm not doing this on Sunday when the Cowboys are playing. Like, it's not Thanksgiving Day and the Cowboys are playing the Giants, and I'm like, so let's talk about what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
TV.
that's clearly not happening. You know what I mean? I'm respecting the time in which I'm inserting that. You know what I mean? So he might be watching Pulp Fiction for the 150 millionth time, and I might be like,
that's your movie.
And even then, I might be like, this may not be a good time because this is really his joint. But it's those times when I'm like, hey, when you finish, I need to talk to you because I was thinking about X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we insert, a conversation.
Because you ain't never picking the Hallmark movie.
No, don't
interrupting any of your Hallmark.
Are you one of those?
Oh
boy.
Wait now. It's
Oh,
about that time.
boy,
They're about to
look,
put all the good
I thought
movies
you was
on.
cool, man. Listen.
Halloween is over. We are here.
You know what
Super,
season it
man.
is.
It's the season. Hello,
two things I hate right after on November 1st. Hallmark and Mariah Carey.
I knew he was going to say Mariah Carey. I knew he was going to say it.
No.
Hey, you know what? I can't be mad at Mariah. I can't be mad at Mariah. I get it though.
I can't stand
I can't be mad. So okay. So how does that work with the compromise? Okay, so you're a sports fan. I know that to a hardcore sports fan.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work when she wants quality time and you want to watch the games? Because over here, okay. So for instance, NBA fanatic. That's me all day long, twice on Sunday. I've lived for that. Everything.
And that's tough. See, at least I'm not him. Because that's 82 games.
It is
Right.
That's a long season. That's
It's
different.
a long season.
That's 82 games versus 16, 17 weeks. Come on.
Yeah, very true.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm like, listen, I gotta watch my NBA.
Yeah.
She needs her quality time. So I said, okay, because this is the woman I love, and this is my dream girl. Okay, let me at least try to figure this thing out, even though I don't want to. But I'm gonna figure this thing out. So we came up with the compromise because she's like, she wants to do things. So like every week we do our date nights. We have our certain things, what have you. So I go, okay, listen, I'll give you whatever it is that you want. I just asked for two things: All-Star Weekend. You don't bother me Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and playoff time, especially the finals. You give me those, we can do everything else in between that. However that works. Okay, I can agree on that, and that's what we work. That's what we've worked on. So how does that work?
So I have to get better at that because I haven't actually mapped anything out like that. Per se. The thing is, even though I'm a devout Cowboy fan, I watch all football. Or pro football. You know what I'm saying? I watch all pro. So even when I play fantasy, you know, say we do, my bookies and stuff like that. So he like yo.
So you watching all day.
So I'm watching to see who
tabs,
making sure like certain players. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it if they do suck, but at least in my head I feel like a manager. But yeah. As far as like the Cowboy games, we host events, so I don't watch those at home. But the quality time is not neither one of our. We'd love it, you know what I'm saying, and we will find time, but it's not neither one of our love languages. So I guess that's the short answer. That's kind of how we get around that.
But that works. At least
you know what I'm saying?
Right, y'all
understand. There's an understanding. There's an understanding.
Yeah, and to be honest, we the majority of the time out together is in the family room, and sometimes like nonverbal is quality time too. I mean,
each other's presence.
The one thing we can do more is we're working on is date nights.
Okay.
So I will say that is the comedian, she likes to follow listen, Friday you do whatever you want, Saturday college football. See, you know what I'm saying? See, I don't do college football, so she got me on Saturday. Yeah. But say Friday and Saturday, but Sunday is like
I know that. You know what I mean?
From August to January.
I'm not like, oh, let's go, blah blah blah. Especially if it's football season. You know what I mean? So just
sometimes.
No.
Sometimes she throws things on the schedule. I'm like, we got a game at 4:30. I got a game at 4:30. I don't know.
Right.
See how that changed?
I got a game at 4:30.
Right.
That's not gonna work for me.
My boys gotta play good,
right.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better over the years about kind of paying attention to like, okay, it's Sunday, he got a game. I might be like, oh, brother, you know what I mean? But like I might be like, okay, I know you got a game on Sunday, so Saturday. We is out together, all of us.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, we're gonna do blah blah blah. And
all day long.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Forever.
Love it.
Forever. Right.
And so I'm like adding on, the things that we do because I know that Sunday is his thing. He got, he's gonna watch the game, blah blah, and specifically during football season, naturally.
Yeah.
So I think we do pretty good about trying to balance, like you said. He doesn't have like a set schedule like you do. He probably could use a good old schedule, because
NFL's a little different. Yeah. So I give them that.
So but we kind of one thing we have initiated over the last, I think, probably 2, maybe 3 years, is really checking in with what's coming up. Because I have the whole family social calendar. Yeah. I'm putting everything in my phone. Yep, I'm like, we're doing this. In Frankie's world, Frankie's like, I don't have anything to do. Work and go watch it.
right.
No, sir. We have a kid's birthday party on Saturday.
Yeah.
Men are gonna
remember we spoke about this 2 months ago? So and so's 3-year-old birthday party.
At Get Air. At Get Air.
I'm like, I remember the kid's birthday party.
Right. So I have to like keep him in tune with the family social calendar, of course. So that's something that I've tried to kind of stay on top of. So I'll send him like reminders at work, and I'm like, hey, don't forget this weekend we got da-da-da-da.
But that's a little bit of a disconnect too, because like the stuff that I replace it with is like work.
Oh, okay.
You understand? My second job is a per diem, so I can kind of, if I want to run up the check a little bit and make a little more money and stuff like that, I tell them to put me on certain weekends and stuff like that, and so it's not like I'm doing it for leisure. It's not like I said, hey, no, me and Brandon gonna go and we would never do this. Lake Lanier, I was about to say Lake Lanier, but we're I don't have to go back to that place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's not like I say, me and Brandon gonna go and like, shoot some hoops and stuff like that. I literally, I make the provision when I don't think I have anything going on. I make the big provision to work, but I still.
But we've had to have conversations
about checking in,
letting me know when he's making those provisions. Right. Again, it's Frankie's world, right? So he'll talk to his boss and be like, "Oh yeah, I can work on Saturday and Sunday. I'm good until 4 o'clock.
Like, no,
the game is not till 7." And then I'm like, "Wait a minute,
that's the whole weekend,
right?
That's the wrong weekend.
We were supposed to go apple picking.
Yeah, we were supposed to go take.
we were supposed to go apple picking though.
Right.
And it's like,
what is life without apple picking?
Right.
We need to go to the pumpkin farm.
That was definitely on the schedule.
It's on the schedule. You know what I mean? And so,
does she like pumpkin lattes and all
of it.
God bless you.
And so we have
like
to do
honorary white girl. I hate it, man. That Hallmark life is just annoying. It's the same freaking ending. Like, you know what's gonna happen. The guy that that broke her heart, and then she meets the other hardworking guy that's not the proverbial dude that she would date, and then they end up falling in love.
That's right.
I'm so surprised.
It's all the same white people, the same snow.
We have to watch it and see.
Thank you.
I did see
it's mahogany.
They're doing better.
I did see one on there. That was only one.
Right. They're doing better. They're doing better.
Keisha Pulliam is always in them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's like mahogany.
Shout out to Rudy, by the way.
Right.
Shout out to my girl Rudy. Okay, so but it's the balance. I get you. I think that's something that, like I said, because I know how she is. My weekends are never to myself because she's got them all planned out. It's like we're gonna go this and that. I'm like, really want to be at home,
right?
Right.
Yeah, babe. Sure. Okay. But I get it though. It's not like I do it begrudgingly. I'm like, I understand. This is investing into our family.
Love
and this is love deposits, all this stuff. And it's for her. It's for the
but
kids.
It's all respect. It's definitely because she was taking care of doing some bachelorette stuff up in DC, and I had to take my daughter to a trampoline party.
Oh wow!
Oh, by yourself.
Yeah. And I was like, just remembering everything, just remembering the bags and just making sure it has enough. Saying.
How many times did you call him to double check to make sure you had everything together?
She didn't. You know what I'm saying? I got this. When I got this, I got this.
That's right.
But I'm complaining about it, but I'm really joking. And I had it like, locked and loaded. I was like, baby sleep on the shoulder.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Like stroller here.
My man.
Stroller on the back.
My man, let's go.
And I'm walking through the parking lot with her dead sleep on my shoulder because she slept on the way there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They always fall asleep.
And now I just got right. Now I got the stroller and I got the book bag, the juicy juices here, the fruit snacks on the other side. Right. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, hey, other dads, how you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Here. I have a ride.
If Frankie and Tiffany could see from Hollis could see the you now, what would they say?
Please.
Oh man,
what would they say?
That's a good question.
Oh man,
like you out, like yo, you out here with juicy juices now, dog?
You want to know something?
That's funny.
You know what? I'm gonna give you the surprising answer. Frankie from Hollis would not be impressed because I've always felt like I would be a good father. I've always felt like I'd be a great father. I've always felt like I was built for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now,
right.
if you would ask as far as the husband is concerned, Frankie from Hollis would have been like, "Damn, dog, you really doing it?" Yeah. But fatherhood, no way. I might be falling short.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Compared to Frankie from Hollis. I've always wanted to be a dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah. Even I'm sorry. Well, even like so, even in our absence, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the people I dated had kids. You know what I'm saying? And I just took them on like no problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I've again, that's always been like I've always been the person that people knew, like Frankie really good with kids. I used to have a friend a coworker that joked on me about get some kids of your own, because my Instagram at one point had like everybody else's kids in it, like friends and family and stuff like that, and like I've always been that person. I always knew that I would be, destined to be a great father. So I didn't. Yeah.
So like Marty loved the kids. Frankie
right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. From child psychology in college to, so I've always
right.
been,
You're where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for me, Tiffany from Hollis, I would probably say, my mom was really good. You know what I mean? So I kind of had the foundation for, being a great mom. Like I knew I kind of had like a blueprint of what that looked like or what it could look like. So I would probably say she probably would be like, okay, Tiff, you're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Good job. Yeah. Wife, I've always known that I was wife material. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Speak on it.
Yeah, I've always known that. Mm-hmm. I've always known that I was wife material. Like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make somebody real proud one day. You know what I mean? So I would say Tiff from Hollis probably would look at me now like, you did. You good job, Tiff. You're doing good. Just like keep putting one foot in front of the other. You got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Because even though the Sunday dinners were the routine Sunday dinners were new to her, it was like it took no time before she was like bringing my plate. I now don't say that to flex, but that's a quality of hers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I saw that early on, and I believe that was the point my mom did, and so did my cousins.
Because I jumped right in. I'm a jump right in kind of chick. You know what I mean? So I'm not that girlfriend that was like, oh, I gotta be up under him the whole night. If I was in his house, my mother would be like, hey, you need to, like, did you help clean the kitchen? Did you and I would get the dishes together. I would come upstairs like, is there anything you want me to do? Oh, let me just get the food in the kitchen for you.
Oh, she fit right in.
Like, I just kind of, I established myself early on, with them. So they already knew what it was. Even sometimes Frankie would be like, are you going to come back downstairs? And I'm like,
I brought you over here to hang out.
Yeah, he's like, I brought you over to hang out. And I'm upstairs talking to his mother and grandmother.
That's
what you getting ready to say?
I'm
trifling. What you going to say?
I had one girl that I dated from East New York, and right.
No sense.
And she,
we love everybody from
East New York. Shout out to
we love Brooklyn. We love Brooklyn.
Shout out Brooklyn. We love Brooklyn. East New York. And I literally had that. I knew the moment, and I was like, yeah, this ain't going nowhere. I was like, no plate.
Oh yeah.
It was like no plate in front of me, and then when I had to make my own plate, which I'm cool with, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? That, but it's not like it was a red flag.
Yeah.
But it was like a bunch of things in conjunction with each other that made it a red flag. And then it was like, the fellas are downstairs watching the game, and then like, ladies upstairs, congregating and they're talking and stuff like that, and she's like sitting right next to me, like, scrolling on her phone, and I'm looking like. You not see that this is man hour over here? It is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like it was like, it's like, yeah, it's not that so much that was a deal breaker, but I was like, yeah, that's different.
Right.
Now I don't know if I can get used to that.
Yeah.
So
even with the making plate thing,
that is, yeah.
I have friends who are in marriages and they're like, he can make his own play. I make the play for kids and you know. And it's like, you know, that thing. It's kind of like, well, what works for y'all works for y'all.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm not saying that you have to do it.
Right.
I'm not saying that you should do it or you shouldn't do it. I do it because it's my act of service to him.
Right.
I do it because he grew up in a household where he saw a grandfather who worked hard, who was treated as such.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I treat him the way he saw his grandfather treated in his household that he grew up in. You know what I mean?
That's what I was.
And that's important to me.
Yeah.
To make him feel like he's the king of our house.
Right.
Because that's how his grandmother made his grandfather feel. You know what I mean? So, and because I know how much rich culture and how much rich foundation he had growing up in that household, it blesses me to be a service to him, to give him what he saw growing up.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Because in his mind, when he saw his grandmother in his household, he grew up in a household where grandpa ate first, right? Because he brought the bacon in, she cooked the bacon.
He ate the bacon.
He got the first plate of bacon. Okay,
I would literally get popped in the hand if I touched the food before she got a chance to make my grandfather a plate. Wow. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I was used to. Order. And then my grandfather, he, God bless his soul, he wasn't blue collar. However, you big on mob movies?
Yeah.
Like Goodfellas? You know, in the beginning when he goes, you know, Paulie didn't move fast for anybody. That's because Paulie really didn't have to move for anybody at all.
Right.
That was my grandfather. You understand what I'm saying? Like his silence spoke volumes because he was just. I just knew walking in the house from the cold that I'm warm now because of him.
Right.
He's sitting there. So, and I know that I'm eating. Because of him, I know that you understand what I'm saying? You know, I'm not gonna be able to take be able to take a nice warm bath because of him. Yeah. So you know what? I had this talk with my cousin Andy. Shout out to my cousin Andy. Like Grandpa just sitting same spot. He don't do nothing. Grandpa deserves to sit in the same spot from when you leave for school and when you come back from school, and he's in the same spot. So what?
Right.
What he's done in his lifetime provided us. From all of this, he got this. He got this house when it was only Jewish people in the neighborhood. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Like
a lot of sacrifices
when buying homes, and because Hollis was a Jewish neighborhood at one point, when buying homes was unheard of for a black man. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So
let that man be great.
Let that man sit right there in this chair.
That's right. Have his moment.
So I feel the same way. So even when I have conversations or like we go places, you know. It's not like, I gotta make Frankie's plate. You know, it's just like
it's just second nature.
Second nature.
Second nature.
Second nature.
And like there are times when I might say, you know, you good, you know, you want to make your own plate, or he'd be like, oh, I'm good, I'm gonna get my own plate, and I'm like, okay, and I let him have it. You know what I mean? But ultimately, that is a joy for me. Right. You know what I'm saying? To be able to provide him with a service that I know he grew up appreciating.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And because in my wifedom, you know, it's the hardest thing I can do is make a plate. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that's all he needs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To make him feel like a king. How many plates you want?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because this all of these things, these nuances from social media these days that gives the whole.
Yeah, we did.
We're gonna be a whole nother hour talking about this.
Yeah. I don't want to get into it too. I don't want to get into it too much, but yeah, like all of these, like this is the right way you treat your man, and they'll put like a like a song with it that makes all these single people think that this if you ain't bringing it like this, then stay single.
Right.
So you understand what I'm saying? So you got the lady that's giving like the I mean, it's cool giving the little facial. The man facial with the massage and she's rubbing it and make me sweat.
Right. You
know what I'm saying? And they doing all that stuff. It's cool. Right. But for Frankie Glenn, it ain't necessary. Yeah. And how you decide to run your household, let that be that. Like, I'm just a strong advocate for staying out of people's bank accounts and staying out of people's bedrooms.
Yeah, amen to that.
You know
what though? I think, but it's about studying your spouse. Don't try to figure out all men or all women.
Right.
Study your spouse.
I almost get weirded out. Like she did like a self-care thing like that one time with me.
Oh, really?
With the whole cucumbers and stuff like that. And I just felt like, and I'm too silly for that type of stuff. I was too silly
you
like
were
that.
saying pause like every 5 seconds.
Stuff like that. And I was sitting there like, and I'm ticklish with massages, especially on my back.
The little metal,
the little cold
cubes
stones.
On his face, and I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, she got the little cold stones. I'm like, good, I want some ice cream now.
Balls on your face, and he's like,
oh my gosh, balls
on
my face, balls.
You can't say anything.
Yeah.
Now he's like, oh, I want some ice cream. I was like, where did that come from?
Because you had the cold stones on there.
You put it in his head.
Totally unrelated, right?
So, but now she knows. Now that's not necessarily for you, but
the plate is enough.
Right. She studied her spouse. The plate is enough.
The plate is enough,
and that's what it is. That's
I love it.
I think you know what I want to end on a good note. That was a good note right there. I think we're good there. I thank you all seriously.
Absolutely.
I thank you guys. We thank you all for making time to come out here with us today and to 100%. Discuss all things marriage and for discussing your marriage. We wish you guys nothing but the best. We speak life over your marriage. Nothing but prosperity and just exponential blessings and fun and love for you guys. Seriously.
You know this right here. I don't know if you guys know just how much of an inspiration you are, because we have a vision board. We have a number of things we like to tackle, and then to see it be put into fruition. With, what I'm saying, through you guys, we're kind of living vicariously through you right now. You know what I'm saying? And there's quite a few things that we want to accomplish, and I can legit put like the Watlingtons. You understand what I'm saying? On my list. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are really out here doing it, and and listen, and I appreciate you guys for having us on the show and being able to give us an outlet. That we don't even know we think we need it. You know what I'm saying? So this is cool.
Definitely to talk about things that we don't get to express to each other regularly because you get so caught up in the
monotony,
bills and all that stuff.
Another Hallmark movie,
hearing
another football game.
Can't forget that.
Hearing, and kind of reliving how we got here. It's therapeutic.
And that's what it is. It helps you express it and get back to the main thing.
Exactly. And take it back to the beginning.
No, not the popsicle.
Whoa.
Somebody's gonna be happy later on tonight. Let's go.
Leaving the baby at my mother's.
Oh yeah.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
love like that.
Well, listen, real quick. Again, thank you guys for coming on to the show. Make sure you guys go check out their podcast, Truth No Chaser, as well, which is an excellent podcast talking about all things that are affecting our culture, about our culture. So make sure that you guys go check them out there. And shameless plug on our side, make sure that you guys are following us on Instagram at @ALoveLikeThat_. On YouTube at @ALoveLikeThat_ as well. Subscribe to our podcast.
All that.
On YouTube, on iTunes at @ALoveLikeThat, on Google Podcasts, and on Spotify right there. And all that jazz in between, buy the book, buy the courses, everything in between, because we love you guys. We want you to see everyone thrive and do well.
Don't meet me in the bubble. Beat me to the bubble, guys. This is some good stuff, guys. So
So we thank you guys once again. Thank you guys for watching the podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Jacqueline.
And this is the Love Like That podcast. Peace.